Yes, Lindsay's he's 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 good. Who's going to Disneyland with me tomorrow? I'm so happy.
Someone out there loved. You don't laugh at the demise of someone else. And maybe that's just from a Christian perspective. Maybe you aren't Christian, because in the Bible, we are taught to treat our enemies with kindness. We are taught to love our enemies, not wish ill on them. So says more about you as a person than anything else. Now the whole world knows that you will laugh at the death of others, regardless of anything. Doesn't matter who you support, doesn't matter what you agree with, your politics. He was a human being, and so are you.
The normalization of the dehumanization from the left is honestly a crisis, and it needs to be addressed, and it needs to be addressed now. Celebrating somebody dying because you disagree with them politically is bad. That shouldn't be a revolutionary statement. That shouldn't make some people on the left go recoil in their corners with their Charlie Kirk memes hosting live celebrating Lindsey Graham's death. That makes you a bad person and certainly does not give you any moral high ground to judge what others do with their time here on Earth. I'm not going to lie, Lindsey Graham was not my favorite person. I didn't particularly care for a lot of his policies, and I thought that his morals at times were questionable at best. With that being said, he was still a person. He still had a soul. He was still made in God's image. He still has loved ones who are trying to mourn his loss, and I can't even imagine how much more difficult that is to do when you open up your phone and people are quite literally basking in the glory of your loved one dying suddenly. That's disgusting. That is wrong. You know who I didn't particularly care for the politics of? RBG. That woman has the blood of millions of unborn babies on her hands. And you know what I didn't do when she passed away? Celebrate. You know what I did do was pray for her soul and that God might have mercy on it. And I did the same thing for Lindsey Graham. And I do it all the time because I don't think people understand how terrible of a place hell truly is. Our life on this earth is extremely limited. It is not a good thing to wish people into hell. You should pray for their eternal salvation, whether you agree with them or not. And to lead down this path of dehumanization, that's when things get dangerous. That's when things go wrong. That's when things get violent. And when it turns around and it smacks you back in your face for the culture that you created, you'll have nobody to cry to, and nobody will have any sympathy for you.
So she's saying she has not been his fan, but there's no way she will celebrate his death. She will just pray for his soul.
Trump comes later. Mr. President, you're not far behind God, but we're going to start with him.
He recognized Jerusalem as the capital of Israel. Why? Because if you got a problem with that, take it up with God. He's the guy that did it, not Trump. So I just want to say, I feel good about the Republican Party. I feel good about where we're going as a nation. We're killing all the right people and we're cutting your taxes. Trump is my favorite president. We've run out of bombs. We didn't run out of bombs in World War II.
Forget it. I'm not with you. I'm with Israel. I will be with Israel to our dying day.
Well, Lindsay, you got your wish. You're dead. And Mitch is on his way to his ditch.
Lindsey Graham celebrated the deaths of thousands of Palestinians, providing unwavering support to Israel and the Israeli military. He ordered the Israeli military to flatten Gaza the way that we flattened Berlin and Tokyo, in his words. He is now dead. All I know is he's burning in hell.
Lindsay, why don't you just admit that you're gay and then people won't blackmail you anymore?
I feel good about the Republican Party. We're killing all the right people and we're cutting your taxes.
And you know how you make America great again? Tell Donald Trump to go to hell.
I want to thank the big guy.
If you're making fun of the death of the warmonger Lindsey Graham like everybody else on Earth is this morning, and some dumb shit right-winger comes up to you and says, oh, the left celebrates death, just show them this. That's all you got to do. Show them this and they'll fuck off. They'll just go away. The reason that we're able to mock Lindsey Graham so openly and celebrate his death is the same reason that when Donald Trump dies, we're going to openly mock him and celebrate his death party at my house. Because Donald Trump lowered the bar and gave us all permission to do it.
So this guy is saying he's waiting the day Trump is going to die. Then they will mock him, and he said that they will celebrate him. But I'm not MAGA, but I think that's not right. You never know when is your last day on earth. When because you're going to say that, then the following day, kaput. So I don't think that someone should celebrate someone is deaf, because you never know when you're going. We just need to pray for them so that the new generation change. They don't do the mistake which those guys did. Anyway, tell me what you think down in the comments.
Baby, listen, I woke up this morning, as soon as I cut on the news app, baby, all I see is breaking news. Lindsey Graham has went to glory. What? Lindsey Graham, you done went to glory? So what's going to happen with this past voting situation where Lindsey Graham won? Oh my God. Are you shocked? Because I am. Lindsey and the Graham is gone. Sudden. Lindsey Graham gone, y'all. I know the city of South Carolina, I know Columbia, South Carolina is shook. Some of them, because I ain't. God bless his soul, though, but Lindsey Graham gone, y'all. Lindsey Graham gone. And the news people say he died yesterday, July the 11th. What?
I'm so sick of people pretending like they have morality only when a corrupt white man dies. I have a genuine question for people like this. We collectively as a society have been watching a genocide take place with our money every single day for almost 3 years. How is it that you're silent 364 days of the year? And your silence is the reason why the genocide continues. I hope you understand that. But then you all of the sudden have morality, or pretend to have morality, when you see people celebrating the death of a corrupt politician who continuously sent our money to finance said genocide. I really need you to stop and ask yourself this question. Why is his life worth more than the lives of thousands of innocent people? Is it because they're Palestinian? Is it because they're Lebanese? Because if that's the case, I don't care what your ethnicity is, you're racist. That is the definition of racism. Lindsey Graham was Israel's slave. His exact words were that we should flatten Gaza, flatten it, a place that he knew, and we all know, millions of innocent men, women, and children live. We should flatten it. When Renee Good was shot by ICE, he said that she deserved it. A single mother of 3 deserved to leave this earth and leave her children without a mother. Greta Thunberg and the other activists were trying to deliver food and water to Gaza. He said he hopes that they could swim, basically advocating that we should shoot them down. Lindsey Graham died at the age of 71 from natural causes. He didn't die in a tent starving to death in Gaza as a child. His family members did not have to dig pieces of his body part out of the rubble. He wasn't found in a mass grave with signs of torture. IDF soldiers didn't block the ambulance from getting to his house. Lindsey Graham received a death way better than what he advocated of others. May God have mercy on his corrupt soul, because he did a lot of evil on this earth. And if people celebrating his death upsets you, but it doesn't upset you that our money is killing innocent people on a daily basis, then you really need to check your racism and morality. You don't have any. You don't have morality. So don't act like you do, okay?
Y'all, listen. Condolences to his family, but Lindsey Graham gone, y'all. He gone.
Hunter Biden has responded to the passing of Lindsey Graham, and he gave the perfect response. Now, if you somehow missed it, overnight Lindsey Graham passed away suddenly, and the response has been immediate. It's been everything from sincere condolences to absolute celebration and everything in between. And however you feel, however you're reacting is perfectly okay. Do not let anybody tell you differently. But Hunter Biden, of all people, was able to sum up this wide range of emotions with this post. Take a look. Now, you can pause if you want to read the whole thing. I'm going to sum it up for you right now. He's saying, look, essentially, I'm going to remember the Lindsey Graham from before Trump, the man that was friends with my father, the man that could disagree with Democrats, fight over policy, but then have a meal and be friends with them afterwards. And close by saying this: I will choose to remember the time before Trump because I believe in an America after Trump. And I think this sums it up perfectly. Lindsey Graham is two very different people, pre and post Trump, which is why there is a wide range of emotions of his passing. But we have to have hope that we can get back to the days before.
Just woke up to the news of Senator Lindsey Graham passing away after what his family say is a sudden illness. Him passing, a 71-year-old, isn't really the surprising part. The surprising part, but not so surprising, are the comments. The comments celebrating. Comments that say, for example, my birthday is next week. Happy early birthday to me. Let's celebrate. Good things happen in threes. His family just lost a loved one. No matter what you think of this man, what your views are, celebrating a death is just wild to me. Is absolutely diabolical. I don't understand. I don't understand how somebody passing away, no matter what he's done, we can celebrate. It's just really confusing. Like, I can't comprehend in my brain how you would celebrate something like that.
So apparently we're doing that same ritual again. A political figure dies, people react honestly to the legacy he left behind, and suddenly everyone becomes deeply concerned about civility. Now people are scolding anyone who refuses to mourn Lindsey Graham, a man who spent decades championing wars, threatening entire countries and people, treating imaginable human suffering like an acceptable cost of American power. Now, you don't have to celebrate anyone's death, but nobody's entitled to a rewritten life simply because that life has ended. And before anyone lectures the public about decency, remember what the sitting president wrote about Robert Mueller dying. Good. I'm glad he's dead. There is no national agreement that political death must be met with grace. There is no selective outrage because in American politics, cruelty is rarely condemned on principle. It is condemned when the wrong person directs it at the wrong side. Death may end a person's life, but it doesn't erase the consequences of how they lived it.
Yes, Lindsey's he's good. Who's going to Disneyland with me tomorrow? I'm so happy.
This is quite literally the cult of death that the Democrats have become. Death becomes them. They get giddy. They get exhilarated with the thought of their political opponents dying. If you consider yourself a Democrat, you are complicit in this absolute disgusting behavior that happens on the daily with leftist lunatics. You think that this is okay? You think that this is something that should be accepted in society? You're sick, you're twisted, you're evil. If you agree with this person, you're a disgusting monster. I'm sorry, but that is true. But this is really what Democrats have become. They are a cult of death and violence, and they are as if the four horsemen of apocalypse. They are beckoning for them to call. They want the world to end. They are a death cult. They are an apocalypse cult, and this is what they do. They celebrate the death of men for no reason.
I will miss Lindsey's friendship, Mr. President, more than I can say. We pray for his staff and for his family, whom he loved dearly and who loved him dearly in return. But I am comforted by the knowledge that in the end, he has just changed his address. We will laugh together again. Mr. President, I yield the floor.
What is wrong with you guys? Do you not have a soul? Are you guys incapable of having any empathy in your heart? I just woke up a little bit ago with the worst stomach ache. And I got on TikTok to learn that State Senator Lindsey Graham out of South Carolina has just passed away. And what's even worse are the comments in some of these videos. Let me just give you a few examples that I've read so far. Oh no. Anyway, guys, how's the weather going? Hey, it's my birthday week. Happy early birthday to me. You know what they say, guys. Everything happens in threes. His family just lost someone they loved, and you guys are sick. What is wrong with you? I'm just gonna say this right now. I don't give a rat's ass cold day in hell what someone's political stance is. If someone gets really bad news, I'm gonna pray for them. I'm gonna pray for their families because they're going through a hard time. I'm not gonna secretly celebrate the passing of someone just because I don't agree with them politically. As for Lindsey Graham's surviving family, I am very, very sorry for your loss. Please take this time to really rely on God for peace and comfort. Be there for one another, support one another, and just take the time to mourn the way you deserve to. And please don't let the negativity online deter you from your right to mourn the loss of your loved one. As for the rest of you, y'all need to do better. You guys preach about being a party of love and acceptance. And yet at the same time, you guys celebrate with your hardened hearts the evil and the downfall of others because they don't align with you. Do better. Seriously.
Holy shit, Lindsey Graham is dead. Look, I just woke up. I've been since it was my birthday, and I get this news to start the day. And I don't care if you're pissed off that I'm celebrating. Lindsey Graham's a terrible person, and well, not anymore, because Lindsey Graham is dead. So, happy birthday to me. I did have a different birthday wish, but you know what? There's still a lot of the day left, so never know.
I mean, you're not going to hear me saying that Lindsey Graham was a great person or a great senator, but like this is just insane. The left does this every time someone is unalived in the Republican Party. The left is normalizing celebrating death. And the Iranian regime, the IRGC, posted this morning saying, congratulations to Senator Lindsey Graham for going straight to hell. And these Democrats are aligning with the Iranians. These Democrats are on the same moral level as the Iranians, and that is not a good thing. How crazy is it that the political parties these days are just so friggin' tribal that Democrats treat a death as a national holiday they're all celebrating today because of Lindsey Graham?
Now, let us go to the next.
Are you sad that Senator Lindsey Graham has died? No, I'm not sad. I'm not celebrating it either, as you suggested in your introduction. I think it's a bit of a straw man to say everyone's celebrating his death. I think as journalists, Piers, you and I, we hold power accountable. We speak truth to power. I'm not of the school that says when a politician dies, a public figure dies, we treat them like a private figure and just shut up. I don't think journalism should turn into hagiography. At Zeteo, for example, we published a list of what Graham said and did. We just let the facts speak for themselves. He was a man who said awful things, genocidal things, racist things, and we put that on the record for people to see. That doesn't mean he didn't also do, I'm sure, good things in Congress as well, but overwhelmingly he argued for wars, including this Iran war that outlives him, that killed 100 schoolgirls on day one of the war. He argued for the Iraq war that you and I opposed, that killed over 1 million people. He never met a Middle East country he didn't want to invade, and I think that's how we should remember him. We should remember the full record. The problem is when powerful people die, people in our media, especially mainstream corporate media, want to just do hagiography and say what a wonderful person they were. Weren't they lovely? And I'm sure many of those powerful people were lovely and they have families who love them. But as journalists, our job is to say, here's what they did. Here's the truth about their life and record. Here's an accurate obituary. And with Lindsey Graham, the man has a ton of blood on his hands and we shouldn't just forget that.
So now that I am fully awake, let's talk about the death of Senator Lindsey Graham. On Thursday of last week, Senator Lindsey Graham was in Ukraine on behalf of the U.S. to ensure the U.S.'s continued support in protecting Ukraine from Russia, also pushing for increased sanctions on Russia. What we know at this point in time is somewhere between 1 and 2 a.m., somebody in Lindsey Graham's residence made a 911 call. Who was in Lindsey Graham's home at 2 a.m. to make that call. Very interested in that information. Considering that Lindsey Graham is a very known bachelor who does not appear to have anybody living with him, but who knows? Somebody made that call. Could it be Russia? I don't know. I think it's very suspect that he was in Ukraine on Thursday and now he's dead. Or just very unfortunate for something like a deep vein thrombosis after a long flight. I don't know. I'm sure in time we will get more information. So now, what does that mean for that Senate seat? The Republican governor of South Carolina will appoint somebody to take that seat in the meantime. That same person will probably end up being the GOP's nominee on the South Carolina Senate slot for the November midterm elections because Lindsey Graham was up for re-election. The possible people that they're going to be putting into that position could be anybody from Nikki Haley, who was the former governor of South Carolina, to Nancy Mace, which her staffers and people in Washington have described as seriously unwell in recent months, or the lieutenant governor of the state. The possibilities are endless. The Republicans are scrambling because they did not expect this one when they've been trying to cover up Mitch McConnell's death for a week, 2 weeks, a fucking month now. And here's a reminder to every NDA signed on behalf of Lindsey Graham in the Washington, D.C. area or other areas. Now that Lindsey has expired, honey, so do those NDAs.
President Trump knew Robert Mueller personally. None of you know Lindsey Graham personally. You're making the remarks that you're making about his passing because he supported President Trump. When Trump made the remarks that he made about the passing of Robert Mueller, I said those remarks were tasteless. As much as Democrats and liberals like to talk poorly about President Trump, I have been shown this morning that they have more in common with him than they would like to think. I have not been okay with a lot of the rhetoric that President Trump has used, just as I am not okay with a lot of the rhetoric Democrats and liberals use. Democrats and liberals criticize President Trump's rhetoric. Then they turn around and use rhetoric worse than President Trump. As I've stated numerous times, their hypocrisy knows no bounds. And there is no denying that hypocrisy. Criticizing someone for their behavior and their rhetoric, and then turning around and having the same behavior and rhetoric is the definition of hypocrisy. Y'all have a wonderful day. God bless you.
Lindsey Graham, the traitor from South Carolina, died from a sudden illness. He met with an actor in Kiev on July 10th and died on July 11th. He seemed pretty healthy here. Maybe he got another booster and died suddenly. Maybe he got blown up in a drone factory. Maybe he ran his political course and the higher-ups needed to tie up some loose ends. Maybe it doesn't matter because they never tell us the truth anyway. What matters is to pay attention to who will mourn him and how will he be remembered, because for the better part of 30 years, this guy was a warmongering, bloodthirsty, genocidal maniac. Whoever comes out and says he was a good man is an enemy. This guy wanted to drop a nuclear bomb on Palestine.
Hiroshima and Nagasaki with nuclear weapons. That was the right decision. Give Israel the bombs they need to end the war they can't afford to lose.
He wanted to send your sons and daughters to die for Israel.
Step forward and say, this is my fight too.
That's probably because he never had children, so he's cool with sacrificing yours. He said that the U.S. is running out of bombs because they're killing all the right people.
We've run out of bombs. We're killing all the right people and we're cutting your taxes.
Oh yeah, does that include the 160 schoolgirls in Iran? The innocent people in Gaza, in Lebanon, in Syria? You may see the right saying good things about him. You may see the left saying bad things about him, but we must understand that both sides still supported these wars. Pro-abortion, always liberal. Stopping immigration, always conservative. But when it comes to wars in the Middle East and building a top-down dystopian technocracy, it's...
No, I'm not going to celebrate the death of Lindsey Graham. But I'm sure I'll be accused of celebrating the death of Lindsey Graham, just like I was accused of celebrating the death of Charlie Kirk. Though if you look back through hundreds of my old posts, you'll see that I did no such thing. I did say I thought Charlie Kirk was a terrible person who spread lies, disinformation, and twisted the minds of young people. But I did not celebrate his death, just as I will not celebrate the death of Lindsey Graham. In fact, I offer my condolences to his family. I personally did not like him. I thought he was nothing more than a Trump bootlicker who enabled the very worst traits of that man. And if in fact he was gay, he was a traitor to his community. But any death under such circumstances is a tragedy. So to his family, I offer my thoughts and my prayers. What happens next? Well, the governor of South Carolina will have to appoint a temporary replacement. Meanwhile, the Republicans will have a special primary, probably next month, in which they'll choose a candidate to run against the Democratic candidate in November. Whoever wins that race will take office in January of next year. So farewell to Lindsey Graham. I feel sorry for his family, but I'm not sorry to see him go. And that's just me being honest.
Celebrating the death of someone is grotesque and vile and speaks loudly of your character. You know what? You are absolutely right. What do you think about this? Or does what you say only apply to when a Republican dies, you fucking cunt?
It is absolutely appalling, the comments that Democrats and liberals are leaving on the post I made about Senator Lindsey Graham's passing. It is okay to have a different political opinion than someone, but celebrating in their passing is absolutely disgusting. They have all this fake outrage for bullshit that doesn't even matter. And when a true tragedy occurs, they snub their nose. There were many things that I disagreed with Senator Graham on, but I respected him, and I thought he was one hell of a senator. There was no doubt that he loved this great country. But because he supported President Trump and he supported Israel, liberals are celebrating that he is no longer with us. Would they have these same feelings if it were their family member? The hypocrisy that comes out of that party is absolutely astounding. This is just one of the many reasons that I could never support the Democratic Party. These people desperately need our prayers. Let's remember the family of Lindsey Graham as we go throughout our day today. I hope you all have a wonderful Sunday. God bless each of you.
Senator Lindsey Graham died yesterday. He was 71 years old, and depending on which side of the political spectrum you're on, you saw different reactions. Some people were celebrating. Some people were saying it's very distasteful to talk badly about someone who died. Have you ever wondered why we even have that custom? The rule is actually traced back to Chilon of Sparta, a statesman who lived around 600 BCE. Ancient Greeks remembered him as one of the 7 sages, thinkers celebrated for brief lessons about restraint, judgment, and conduct. About 9 centuries later, a gossip columnist named Diogenes Laertius preserved the sayings attributed to Chilon in a work called Lives of the Eminent Philosophers. The saying began in Greek, not Latin. During the Renaissance, Italian scholar and monk Ambrosio Traversari translated the work into Latin, and the instructions became De mortuis nil nisi bonum, which means, of the dead, say nothing but good. And the proverb has survived all this time because it addresses a basic human problem. A dead person cannot answer accusations, explain past choices, or defend a reputation. Families and friends are also grieving, so restraint becomes a form of mercy. But the rule was never a command to erase history. A person's actions could still be recorded and examined honestly. But the tradition governed personal conduct, especially during mourning. It asked the living to distinguish historical judgment from insult, and to let death bring personal hostility to an end. Now you know. Let me know what you think on Substack by joining our free Substack community. We are currently welcoming new members to our tribe.
Dear vile cretins celebrating the death of Lindsey Graham, we need to talk. If you didn't know, Senator Lindsey Graham died over the weekend, and it took the internet 0.2 seconds to do exactly what the internet does best, which is celebrate the death of someone. Now, I don't like Lindsey Graham. I think he was a terrible politician who did a lot of terrible things, and he did not have Americans' best interests at heart. But I'm not celebrating his death, and here's why. First of all, why are you letting someone that doesn't know you and doesn't have a lot of impact on your day-to-day life, why are you letting that person harbor so much hate and anger in your heart and in your soul? Like, that is not good for you. That's the kind of shit that breeds cancer. So let that go. But my bigger point is that if politicians dying causes you to celebrate, maybe it's a sign that government has gotten too big and too powerful, and that we need to rein in government instead of giving them more power, which people seem to be okay with when their preferred party is in charge. But I digress. And I got a bunch of DMs over the weekend from people. They responded to my story and they're like, I'm glad Lindsey Graham is gone. He was a terrible politician. Ooh. Are you new here? Do you honestly think that somebody's going to come in that's going to be like this magical Ron Paul type politician that's like preaching freedom and liberty? No. The Democrats are basically teetering on communism, and the Republicans, they don't give a fuck about you either. Sorry. We all know it's true. So cheering for the death of some man who may or may not have been murdered, I don't know. The whole thing is weird to me. I'm not, you know me, I'm like always questioning the narrative. But either way, if you are championing the death of somebody, you are no better off than the trash politician that you are happy seeing dead. Thank you.
Insult to injury. Insult to injury. You want to know what I mean when I say that? So, Senator Lindsey Graham passed away the other day. And I'm seeing all these people, videos who's popping up on my FYP, and they're celebrating this man's passing. How sick can you be that you would celebrate another human being's passing? And you're sitting here pouring salt on the wound when this person's passed and you don't know what their family is going through right now, let alone letting them go through the grieving process. Is this what this world is coming to now? That we're celebrating other people's passing? This world is sick. This world is really, really sick.
Not a single one of you can get on here and say that people shouldn't be talking about Lindsey Graham passing or saying celebration or acting happy when you supported the president that had all this to say about people when they passed away because they had different political ideology. But now everybody wants to come on here and act like, oh man, do you see those liberals? You see how these people are? No, it doesn't work that way. You don't get to have your cake and eat it too. You stand by this man and everything he says. So you don't get to cry foul when you see something that you don't like. I mean, he started this type of bullshit in between people with different policies and different ideology. And you stood behind it and applauded. And now you all want to act like someone's just doing you a foul. That's a bunch of crock of shit. And you damn well know it. Let me know what your thoughts are on the chat, and especially over the recent passing of Lindsey Graham, who went against anything, everything that was progressive here in America that would have helped millions and millions of families just because they were considered Democrat. Bye.
We'll take it. Senator Lindsey Graham has died last night. He was 71 years old, and I'm going to talk about him in a way today that most people on this app won't, because I think the truth about who he was and what he did deserves to be said out loud. It is not with cruelty, but it is with honesty. And I think I owe you and my community nothing less. First, what we know for certain, his record. Lindsey Graham spent over 2 decades in the United States Senate voting consistently against the rights of LGBTQ people. He co-sponsored the Defense of Marriage Act, defining marriage as only between a man and a woman. He voted against the Employment of Non-Discrimination Act, which would have prevented people from being fired for being queer. He voted against the repeal of Don't Ask, Don't Tell, the policy that banned openly gay people from serving their country. He voted against the right for gay people to adopt children. He opposed the Equality Act and said he would, quote, talk until he fell over to prevent it from passing. He earned a 0, a literal 0 on the Human Rights Campaign's congressional scorecard every single year. And now I want to talk about the other part of the story, baby. The part that has followed Lady Lindsey Graham for decades. And I want to be very clear about what I'm saying and what I'm not saying. There is no verified evidence that Lindsey Graham was gay. He's denied it publicly multiple times and said, quote, I am not gay. Now, I am not going to tell you that he was, although I've had people in my own life tell me that he was, and, you know, they have the paycheck to prove it. What I am going to tell you is what has been widely reported and widely discussed for 30 years. Persistent rumors about his sexuality have followed Lady Graham through her entire career. His lifelong bachelor status, his nickname Lady G, which reportedly circulated amongst Washington, D.C. SMEX workers. Chelsea Handler, Patti LuPone, Bill Maher, Whoopi Goldberg, even Laura Loomer, who testified under oath in a deposition that it was, quote, well known among Trump's staff that Lady Lindsey Graham was gay. Okay, I added the lady part. Now, none of that is proof. I want to be clear. None of it is proof. But here's the question that has haunted his entire political career. And I think it matters today more than ever. If the rumors were true, what kind of life did he live? Voting against his own people, denying rights to the community that he secretly belonged to, building a career on the backs of people like him. That is not politics, that is tragedy. I am a gay man, I have a husband, a daughter, and I have built a nonprofit for queer people in recovery because I refuse to hide. And I look at what Lady Lindsey Graham did with his power, regardless of who he was in private, and I feel grief. Not for the politician, but for the person who may have spent 71 years unable to be who he was. Rest in peace, little Lady Graham, with whatever peace that life will allow you.
Used to be back in the day, there were sacred things that we didn't cross. There were lines that we knew were unethical or immoral, or there were things that were off base. One of those things was celebrating the death of someone who has passed away, and it is unfortunate. We have found ourselves again in a situation where someone that has dedicated his life to service for the United States of America has suddenly passed, and instead of pausing to show our respects, if you choose to do that, or if you choose not to do that, at least just saying nothing, has gone to the wayside. You know, my pastor says this a lot when it comes to politics. He says, you know, for every mile of road, there is 2 miles of ditch. And things roll off the road and they fall into this ditch. So for every righteous step we take forward, there's double the steps of decay and of rottenness and of unethical immorality that takes place. And here we find ourselves in this situation again. People who disagreed with a person and begin celebrating and tap dancing over his body. I don't know under any circumstance how that would be the behavior that I would want my children to associate me with. Even in the case where it is the most evil, vile person, I think I would just be quiet and I would pray for that person's soul.
While Americans celebrate the death of Senator Lindsey Graham, people in Iran are mourning the loss of the Ayatollah, the late supreme leader, who was put to rest on July 9, 2026. Now, I remember when Senator John McCain passed away. America was in mourning. A lot of people were sad. Okay? Now you might ask, what does John McCain has to do with anything? Well, John McCain and Lindsey Graham were what I would call friends. And I noticed when John McCain passed away, right? John McCain left in writing that he does not want certain people to attend his funeral service. He and Lindsey Graham seemed to have this bromance that was going along a certain line. As soon as John McCain passed away, Lindsey Graham did a 180 and went in the opposite direction. You know what I'm saying? So he kind of stabbed John McCain in the back when John McCain passed away. Because everything that he said he would not do, that's what he went ahead and did. Looked like he was waiting for John McCain to pass away. You get what I'm saying? That's Lindsey Graham. Now, what does Lindsey Graham have to do with the Ayatollah? Passed away in a U.S. strike, February 28, 2026. Well, Lindsey Graham is known to support foreign wars. You get what I'm saying? He's one of those U.S. senators who is big on supporting foreign wars and vow his support for Israel until the day he dies. That's what he said. Those are his words. Okay? So it's very, I find it very peculiar that the Ayatollah, according to Western media, is said to be a bad man. That's what Western media says. They said the late Iranian supreme leader is a bad man. And people in Iran do not love him. Come to find out, there are millions of people in Iran who are now mourning the so-called bad man, right? And contrast to that, in America, okay, millions of people are now celebrating the death of Senator Lindsey Graham, who passed away July 11th, 2026. You know what I'm saying? So it's just very mesmerizing to me how things work and could turn out. But I guess what? I guess whatever you put out will return to you. So whatever you put out in the atmosphere is going to come back to you one way or the next. Okay? Stay safe. Peace.
As I'm sure you've heard, Lindsey Graham is dead. It's reported that it was a sudden and brief illness. That's a really weird way to say that the choke play went bad. I mean, it was Saturday night. I'm sure Grindr was, being used. And how is Grindr going to recover from this? He was one of their biggest clients. People were like, you shouldn't celebrate somebody's death. Why? Why shouldn't I celebrate the reason why the Supreme Court is the way it is? Why shouldn't I celebrate when they died? I didn't wish him dead, but I'm not going to be sad that he's dead now. Wait until the big, beautiful obituary comes out. You think I'm happy now? I'm going to walk up and down my frickin' road banging pots and pans. Not a joke. I'm actually going to do that when it happens, when it finally fucking happens. So this is nothing. I'm just happy that the War Hawk is dead.
And thank you for watching Mighty Great Minds Blacks. See you in the next video. One love.
Thank you for watching Great Minds Blacks.